Hey everybody, this is Robert from Black Belt Gaming. I hope you've been well. I've had a little break in my playthrough here. Evidently I made a couple of errors. I don't think anything too severe. We were going along really well there for a while and drew lots of face down damage. However, I think when Harvey was smacked by this door, I think that damage card should have been face up. So there he is facing off against the cultist. And that should have been a face up damage card. The other two I think are correct in being face down. I need to remember that when you take damage, it is face up unless otherwise stated. And then the movement system, I'm still getting the hang of that. Evidently you can move and then take an action and then you move again. Not a whole new set of movement like 2 spaces, but you can finish your move. So that would mean, and you guys have recommended that I move Jenny Barnes. I think she moved in here. She checked something out here and then she would be moving back this way. Probably because Harvey Walters he's in trouble. He's taken 3 damage and he can take 5 before I think he gets seriously wounded. But let's resolve one of these damage cards for Harvey Walters. I'm going to draw one of these at random. This would have happened when he was attacked by the door. So let's see what it says. It says, grievous injury. The pain clouds your vision and sends you staggering. Remove 1 immediately. Suffer 1 additional face down damage. Wow. Resolve immediately. Suffer 1 additional face down damage, then flip this card face down. Really? So that's going to take Harvey up to 4. Alright, well that would have started Harvey off with 2 damage and then he would have suffered the additional 2 during the rest of the round. So let me put this face down and we'll give him another one face down. Alright, so that takes Harvey to 4 face down damage cards and then I believe he's still dazed. That was left on the card from when I was doing my playthrough a couple of weeks ago, so I'm needing to catch up with the game. So he cannot spend clue tokens to convert dice, and at the end of your turn discard this card. So I think this is still active on Harvey. Let's get started. Alright, we are starting up the application. Let's begin where we left off. It's the investigator's turn, and we have Harvey around this area right here with the cultist. And Jenny Barnes is probably going to try to get to him to help him out. So we may need to go right back to the board. I don't know if there's a whole lot I want Jenny Barnes to do except just stay on the move. So let's go back to the board and pick it up from there. Alright everybody, we'll pick it up here with Jenny, and she gets her move. So let's move her 1, 2. She's in there with the butler again. He is probably not going to help us out. So I think a move of 2 is what she can do at this point. Let me see. Let me rethink this. I'm still getting a hang of this, probably from my Dungeons and Dragons days of needing to complete your move action before you can take an action. Coming from around 4th edition D&D. 5th edition changed this a little bit. Can't we move and then spend an action to pick up this knife? And then we can finish our move. Maybe that's correct. Why don't we do that? And I don't think we have to roll anything or process anything. That was one of her movement points. She spent her action to, a trade action to pick up an item, and then she's completed her move and stopped there. I think the other thing she could do, if she didn't want to do that, is possibly move twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. That could put her in the same position as the cultist and Harvey, but it wouldn't allow her to do much. So which one should we do? Let me think for a moment about that. Well, Ginny Barnes has some weapons, but I was thinking she might be able to pick up the knife to give it to Harvey. I don't think he has much in the way of hand-to-hand fighting equipment. So, however, there may be a way for Ginny to draw the attacks away from Harvey. I'm not sure. Let me have her go ahead and move, and then take another action and move again. So, hey, we're flanking. We're going to head in right behind this cultist, and then we go to Harvey from there. All right, it is Harvey's turn. I think I don't know if there's any penalty for this. I think I'm going to let him use his first action to use a Flesh Ward spell. And it says, as an action, you are another investigator within range, discard 1 damage, and then flip this card. So let's take one of those damages that we sustained, and let me make sure that this dazed isn't going to interfere with this. Dazed, we cannot use the clue tokens to convert the dice or to perform additional puzzle steps. All right, so this should be okay. We're going to discard 1 damage card, and then we need to flip this card. I don't know exactly what this is going to tell us on the back. It says, an echo of the spell passes through you, and we need to make a lore check going for 3 successes. If you pass, you launch, what is that? Latch? Okay, I'm reading it from a distance here. You latch onto the echo and cast it again. Oh, cool. If you fail, you lose your concentration and suffer 1 face down horror. Then discard the spell and gain another Flesh Ward. Well, let's make a roll. Harvey's lore is not bad. It's at 4, but we can't use any clue tokens. Our little lucky cigarette case, I misread that before. Perhaps it was the fact that it was an. I just read it as all. Convert all of the investigation results to successes. But it's just 1. And I wonder if the daze doesn't allow us to do that. It says we cannot spend clues. So we're not really spending a clue. We're using this item. So maybe that is okay. Let's see what happens. Let's attempt this die roll. We've discarded this damage. That's going to happen regardless. So let me put that over to the side in the discard pile. We're going to take 4 dice and give this a roll. And we've got a success and a success, and we have these 2 investigation results. Normally, due to the dazed condition, we wouldn't be able to do anything with that. But I think because of the lucky cigarette case, we can use it and convert that over to another success. So once again, what does that say to us on the card? It says if you pass, we latch on to the echo and cast it again and discard 1 damage card. So, all right, this is good. We're going to discard another one. So Harvey, with his lucky cigarette case, pulled through and healed himself 2 damage points. All right, we have discarded the old Flesh Ward and drawn a new one, as it said to do. And Harvey has another action. I'm wondering if we should attempt this Wither spell again. It didn't go very well for us last time, but we've healed a little bit. So if things take a wrong turn, maybe the healing was enough to keep us in the game. Shall we try? Why don't we attack the cultist with the Wither spell and see what happens. Okay, we are back to the application, and we're going to look for the cultist, and we're going to attack the cultist with a spell. You begin the incantation as if by instinct, your lips forming the words of their own accord. Even as you give voice to the eldritch sounds, you struggle to understand their meaning. Allure 2. If you pass, the hidden truth presents itself and you find that you are able to command them to lash out at your enemy. The monster suffers damage equal to the spell's damage. If you fail, you realize too late that the words serve their own dark purpose and you serve merely as a vessel to give them life. You flip the spell you attacked with. So what does that mean? If you fail, you realize too late that the words serve their own dark purpose, and you serve merely as a vessel to give them life. So maybe it does something that I don't even know what they did. Okay, so let's give this lore check a try. All right, here we go with another wither spell attempt. Harvey's got a lore of 4. We've already used his lucky cigarette case, so no more of that. And I don't think this is enough to do it. Oh, Harvey is loaded with clue tokens, but that's not going to help him this time. So basically this was a failure. We needed 2 successes to pass this test, and we failed. So we're supposed to flip this card. Let me zoom in a little bit with you here. It says, you see the spell ripple and spread from where it hit your target. You suffer 1 face down damage, and the monster suffers 1 additional damage. Then discard this card and gain another wither spell. Interesting. So the spell, it said if you fail, you gave the spell life, then you flip the spell you attacked with. So maybe I took a damage, and maybe the cultist takes a damage. That's how I'm reading this. Then we discard this and draw another. So why don't we do that? All right, so 1 face down damage card and a new wither card for Harvey. So that takes Harvey back to 3 damage, got his wither spell back, and I think now his day's condition is gone. And that, my friends, as far as I know, will end the investigator's phase. Harvey's not having the best of luck with this wither spell. I'm going to go back into the application and put 1 damage on the cultist, and then I guess we're headed into the mythos phase after that. Alright, here we are back in the application. We did 1 damage, sort of by, I don't know, side effect. And we'll continue. We'll put the monster away, and I think that's all we can do. So we will end the investigator phase. Jenny Barnes suddenly stumbles and falls into a pit. Well, that's interesting. That extends deep into the earth. After falling for what feels like a lifetime, she slams hard into the ground where she started. Creepy. Jenny Barnes suffers 2 damage and 1 horror. What is this? That is observation. Observation plus 1 negates. Okay, so how would this work now? 2 damage and 1 horror. If we rolled this and got any successes, maybe it's the damage first and the horror second? Is that how that would work? Or would you have a choice? What I'm saying is, let's say I got 1 success and I could cancel one point of damage
Or, I don't know, could I cancel the point of horror and take the 2 damage? I don't know. I'm going to take it myself here in the order at which I'm reading it, which is even if she manages to avoid the physical damage, it still just scared her big time. So that's how I'm going to look at it. Let's go to the board and make this roll.
Here's Jenny's card, and her observation is not bad. It's at a 3. And I'm not sure if she's got anything in her inventory that might help her out here. Certainly not a 2x4. She did have a lucky rabbit's foot. Once per round, you can re-roll 1 die. And she hasn't needed to roll anything this turn, so she might be able to use that. And it said here, roll 1 additional die while a monster is attacking you. But a monster right now isn't attacking. This is some freaky, I don't even know what to call it. Some sort of strange fall. So let's give the dice a roll. 3 dice, and we'll see if we can negate. We're going to get +1. Does that mean we roll 4 dice? That may be what that means. So I think I'm going to be rolling 4. Here we go. And we did get 3 successes on that roll. So I believe I did that correctly. That would negate the 2 damage and the 1 horror. So Jenny Barnes is quite determined here to help Harvey. And although the dark forces attempted to smash her face in on the floor and scare her out of her mind, it was unsuccessful. She gets up, wielding her 2x4, and is ready to do what she can to help her friend.
Alright, so we're back to the application. That attack on Jenny Barnes did not succeed. She passed that test. So here we are back to the cultist. The cultist moves 2 spaces toward the nearest investigator. They're both right there. Then it attacks the investigator in its space with the lowest observation. Hey, that's Jenny. Harvey Walters' observation is actually 4. He's quite observant. Jenny's pretty good, but not that good. She's got 3. So let's see. Let's click on the monster attacks. So he's going to attack Jenny. The cultist disappears into the shadows. There is little time to react. As you are ambushed, you need to make a agility check. 1 success. If you pass, the cultist reappears just behind you, but you manage to scramble away. If you fail, the cultist catches you off guard and pins you to the ground, so you suffer 2 face down damage and become restrained. Interesting. I really like the text that this is adding, as far as just really describing the combat step by step. Really cool. Alright, let's see if she can avoid, if she's quick enough to avoid this attack.
Alright, the cultist is right here. Evidently he somehow disappears into the shadows. And Jenny Barnes can't see him, and Harvey is saying, he's over there, he's over there. And she runs up. He appears right behind her and makes his attack. Let's see if she can avoid it. She needs to roll her agility, which is 4. So maybe not as observant as Harvey, but she's faster. So 4 dice for her. We just need 1 success. And we did get it. So Jenny is too fast for this guy. He attempts to grab her in a back bear hug. She ducks under it, spins around, and stands right beside her friend, Harvey Walters. And she is ready to pound his face in.
Alright, evil cultist, you failed. Each investigator must resolve a horror check against the monster within range with the highest horror rating. Well, that's 1 monster. All horror checks, after they've been resolved, we can continue. Well, let's process these horror checks. I'm sure the cultists are still chanting in the distance. Let's go to the cultist again and resolve a horror check. I think each of them has to do this. So let's start with Harvey first. The cultist whispers a message that only you can hear. Your friends seek to slay you. We're going to have to make a willpower roll and get one success. If you pass, you ignore the lies. If you fail, you turn against your nearby friends, suffer one horror. Then each other investigator in your space suffers one face-down damage. Harvey, please don't do this. Harvey, please don't do this. All right, let's go back to the board.
All right, the cultist is whispering the lies into the ears of Harvey Walters. His willpower is 4. Certainly he can resist this. Let's give it a roll, and we did get a success. So Harvey Walters doesn't listen to the dark lies and stands firmly beside his friend. But what about Jenny? Let's go back to the application and see.
All right, here we go. That didn't work on Harvey. Let's do a horror check for Jenny. I think she has to do one as well. Let me know if that's wrong. The cultist raises a hand, and one of your items transforms into a deadly viper. Observation 2. If you pass, you disregard the pitiful illusion, but if you fail, you fling the object away. Drop one random item in an adjacent space. That's interesting. All right, well, let's make a isn't it observation? An observation check. She's going to be rolling, I think it's 3 dice. So let's see if she can see through this illusion.
Well, I don't yet know what item may be transforming itself into a snake, a viper to be exact, but it'll be interesting to find out. But hopefully she can resist this. This is going to be tough, though. We did not get 2 successes, but she has her rabbit's foot. This lucky rabbit's foot she can use once per round and re-roll a die. So I'm going to turn that to the side and definitely make use of that. And there it is. We've got our 2 successes. She didn't fall for that. We'll say he attempted to make the 2x4 turn into a snake. Jenny Barnes instead just kind of picks it up or up over her head and pounds it onto the floor in a threatening gesture toward the cultist. She looks down, and it's the same 2x4 that she knows it to be. So, failure for the dark side.
Well, nicely done by Jenny. She didn't fall for that stuff. Actually, thanks to her lucky rabbit's foot. Those are the horror checks. The cultist is slightly wounded from the misfired wither spell. And I think that's going to end our turn. Yes, it does. Alright, well, I'll stop this video here. It's kind of good to get back into this. I'm really enjoying this playthrough, and it's wonderful that I can pause the game, save it, and come back and continue recording with you like this. Sorry I got busy there and have had a break here in my playthrough. I hate it when I have to do that, but it's good to be back with you, and some more is on the way. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll catch you again very soon.